All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Headspace Podcast. Of course, as always, get the little introductions out the way. We are your hosts. I am Coach Joy Monique, as I'm known formerly or whatever. And then this king over here is King Deion Avril down in
Why, thank
Florida.
you.
Everything fitness mindset, personal and group training. Of course, we got you guys. But as far as today's episodes, we're kind of getting into a nice little swing for 2022. I don't know how y'all are feeling as far as how things are going for y'all 2022 just yet. But I will say that I'm seeing a lot of goal setting happening out here. And so this is why we're having this episode today, to kind of make sure that we have a little coming together time to really lay out how we're going to be able to hit these targets. So today's all about productivity 101. We're going to school with this, y'all. So
Y'all better
go
get
ahead.
ready.
Okay, so go ahead and get those notepads out, those pens, Google Note, Google Keep,
Google,
your
keep
phone
all
pad,
that.
whatever you want to do to go ahead and make sure you take down all the tips that we have for you guys to make sure you kind of get onto your time management and your productivity skills and just see how that works out for you to help you move things along when it comes to our goals for this year. And so, of course, if you're wondering why anybody who's out here who is successful and you're like, how are you able to manage doing all these different things? You're over here, you're doing this industry, you're running this business, you have these employees, these clients, whatever like that. And we're thinking that they must have like some supernatural skill set. Like they must be otherworldly, must have a whole team behind them, and they may have a team behind them as well. But before the team even came around, what every person who has been successful at doing anything in life, they've always like learned the same skill. And that skill is within time management. So of course, everything with us getting busier now is really good to kind of hone in on those skills. And there's plenty of benefits when it comes to what you can receive from being better at managing your time. For one, you become more efficient. That's the main thing we're trying to become, is more efficient in how we get our things done. And of course, helping you to be able to organize and manage your tasks that way. That feeling of burnout is real, y'all. It's a real thing that we can't honestly go through at any point in time if we do not prepare ourselves to kind of, go against it and try to reduce our stress levels and everything like that, and make sure that we're still allowing time for living. Living your
Mhm.
life, having friendship, dealing with family, or just, enjoying things that you want on your leisure. So all this is inclusive when it comes to working on your time management, for a better work-life balance. And so to get right into all the tea for today for these good fit tips, Deion, where should we start on how to get our productivity to be more efficient?
So, uh, you got to know how you spending your time. That's just really what it boils down to.
Yes.
Because it's funny because we were just on a call. What was it? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that was said. It was like when we are going on our day to day, like we're just doing our normal day to day activities, are you being mindful of what you're doing and how long you're doing it? That's a question for them. That's the number one question for everybody, right? And that's even something that we have to question ourselves. Um, you really have to keep track of what you're doing and how long it takes you to do certain things. And what that'll give you the ideal of is, if you're waking up and you're doing this, doing that, like for example, if you're watching TV, how long are you watching TV? If you're studying, how long are you studying? If you're studying, if you're reading, how long are you reading? If you're playing video games, how long are you playing video games? Like, and these are just kind of like the common things that we know of people around us that do, right? Because what this gives us an understanding of, okay, you have set amount of hours within your day, right? Depending on when you get up. But we
Mhm.
really need to lay it down and track it manually. So, we could tell people, for example, use like your notepad on your phone or use Google Keep or write it down and really just lay out the day and see what exactly you're doing and how long it takes, right? It'll give you a clear understanding of how you're utilizing your time. Another thing that you can do is think about which activities take the most time to do, right? So that'll give you like just kind of give a little, a little thing to think about. When you figure that out, you need to start paying attention to how you place it within your day,
Yeah.
right? So I'll give y'all a perfect example. I was deciding that I was going to start doing at-home workouts instead, just to be like, you know what, let me switch it up a little bit. Let me, think outside the box. But it's actually counterproductive because when I leave 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., I'm, already heading out to West Palm, which is an hour away. I train all my clients there. I have 1 hour in between that I used to, go ahead and do my training. But what ends up happening is I decided to push it back when I get home. So it throws everything off. Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
So it throws everything off. So instead of using that hour to take my workout, knock it out, and now when I come home, I could just be completely productive, it throws things off because whether it's traffic or, hey, I got to take this call or this, and this turns into 30 minutes or anything can happen. So you really have to pay attention to how you place these things in your day. And also the last thing is, if all of these things that you're noticing, right, as you're writing them down, really think about as you write them down, the question you should ask after each thing when you write it, is this helping me reach my goals? Is this helping me achieve or move towards my goals that I've already set for the year, right? We're still in January. Most people have, like we said, they're goal setting right now, but you really have to think about the time that you're utilizing, right? So instead of you watching, whatever show for the last 6 hours, how about you take those 6 hours and utilize it differently? You know what I mean? Go do some meal prep. Go learn how to do this. Go learn how to do that. Still keep an hour for that, but just balance it out. The next thing is find your focus time, right? So what times are you the most productive, right? So a lot of people, it's sometimes early in the AM. I know for me, I used to be a night owl. I'm trying to kind of like flip-flop that. So some people are really like, they're active in the sense of like, yo, my brain is on like between like 8 p.m. and like, I know some people 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just how they move. They can, be efficient around that time. So pay attention to the times that you feel like you might be the most creative or the most productive and really hone in on that time to get the most things done. The next thing is that there's no one size fits all approach. You really have to test and play around and see what works for you. Because like I said, you could be a morning person and I could be an evening person, but we have to find that balance to what works for us and think outside of the box from, every once in a while. Try it out. If it doesn't work for you, then like I said, I tried it for a week. Excuse my French. This shit ain't it. This is not it. Me going to the gym in the afternoon is not it. First off, it's too many people in there for me, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I want to be able to say, okay, all of the training aspect of the day is done. That's how I can say, I kind of like divide it in my head personally. So I sector that out, say, all right, cool, that's done. Now we're focusing on straight business. Relax a little bit, maybe for an hour or two. Keep it moving for the rest of the day, right? And last thing, like we said, just test it out at all different times and see what works. So as you create that schedule, and it doesn't have to be a full schedule, just see what you're doing throughout the day, how long it takes you to do it, and move things around, play a little bit of Tetris and see what's going on. But that goes into your goals, which, Joy, if you want to go ahead and elaborate for us how that works.
Well, of course, you can go ahead and pass me the ball on this one. So to kind of move the whole conversation forward. So when it comes to goal setting, I'm pretty sure we hear this all the time. There's always two versions of goals that we should be trying to focus on: your short term and your long term goals. So long term for me, I think of like bigger picture. It's like, what is the main outcome I want to achieve, whether it be a certain amount of weight you want to lose, a certain thing that you want to get done, whether it's like, finishing school, finishing a project, whatever like that. That's the bigger picture. That's the more long-term goal. And a long-term goal can just be between now and next month, now and the next year, now and the next 2, 5, 10 years, whatever like that. Short-term goals is like, okay, it's like the longer term goal, more broken down. So say I want to lose X amount of weight over the next, 12 months, over like the next year. Okay. Bigger picture, the goal is X amount of weight. So to figure out what your short-term goals are going to be from that, it's okay. It's 12 months in a year. Taking that big picture number divided by 12. Okay. So now I have to lose only X amount of weight per month. It's a smaller number. It seems more achievable than just looking at, I want to lose 70 pounds in a year. And now it looks more like, what's that math? Ooh, child. Is that 10, 12, 13 and a half?
Y'all, yeah.
Give me grace.
You said 70?
Give me grace for this math. Yes. I chose a much easier number. but y'all get the bigger
5.8, 6 pounds,
come through,
6 or
come
so.
through. So about 5.5 pounds per month, give or take. And if you want to break it down even further than that, okay, what's that divided by 4? Less than a pound per week. That way, your
Yeah, 1.5.
goals seem less intimidating. The whole thing is that we don't want to be intimidated by us being ambitious in what we want to do. We still want it to be like, you still want to be ambitious and to like have these grand goals, but you don't want it to be like you're looking at like at a list of just grand goals on your like page right in front of you, like everything's laid out on a plate. Like this is a lot. This is a lot. So instead, take a few things out, put that to the side, put it in the freezer. Let it just cool off to the side for a little bit and work on these short-term goals. And so understanding that it kind of helps you be able to prioritize things in order of importance. So kind of like how Deion was saying earlier, to be able to time yourself to know how much it takes for you to do certain things, lets you know, okay, this takes most of my time out of my day. I need to have this be a priority between this time and that time when I'm most productive, because it's, required more of my attention to really get this thing done. That kind of, goes into that. And that kind of also flows into us having SMART goals. I feel like I've been hearing about SMART goals since like middle school, but it's like one thing that school taught that was actually relevant. It's very practical.
The one thing.
The one thing they taught that we actually use in real life as like adults. So congrats to the school system. Whoop-de whoop. He couldn't even get a full clap. He couldn't even do it. I'm so done. So yes, SMART goals. So being very specific. Okay, not Pacific, y'all. Specific.
One more time. Tell them one more time.
Specific. Being specific, being measurable, being achievable. You cannot go from 9 to 5 to CEO in 2 months. Or you could, but of what business, or how big is the business going to be within 2 months? So keep making things realistic as well, which would be the R as SMART goals, and then also time sensitive, because the deadlines, it puts a little pressure on you, but it makes you want to get things done, because to some days turn into any day, which turns into almost no days to where you're always pushing things further back out. So it makes, the goal, like even the time sensitive part should be realistic. If you know that you want to go back to school and get a degree, you can give yourself 4 years or however long that program is to really hone that skill, whatever you want to learn. Just putting things into a very tangible kind of way. That way it's able to, be digested easily, have everything lined out. That way, every day, okay, I'm going to hit these 5 tasks per day. My golden rule is no more than 5 tasks to do on any given day, whether it's big, small, or somewhere in this medium area. That way you're not being overwhelmed every single day. And kind of like how Deion said, keep a schedule. We have so many resources now to help us keep track of our time, track of our tasks, appointments, calendars, client books, everything. Like literally, there's a program and an app for whatever you need to get done. So a few of my faves, okay, the good old phone notepad. Okay, it comes already factory installed. No extra download required. All you gotta do is just boop, touch that bad boy one time, put in some notes, be moving. Google Keep, if you want to get a little more, next level with your note taking, and then being able to see because we use Google everything. Google is like literally our business running behind the scenes, everything Google. But Google Keep is one of my favorites at this point, because you can have everything color coordinated. You can share it out with anybody else who has a Gmail as well, or I'm pretty sure any other email might still work, but then who doesn't have a Gmail at this point? I don't know. It's just still on AOL. Are you still doing AOL.com emails?
You've got mail.
Ooh, just had a flashback.
I didn't remember it.
just right back to like 2002 just then. Okay, so yes, Google Keep, amazing thing. If you want to go old fashioned, paper calendars, the big desk version, I personally have become a more fan of those as well, because that way you kind of keep things in both, where you can actually like wake up in the morning, have like your little, wall set up to where, okay, I see what's laid out, and then the actual virtual calendar, like, actually will ding you when it's time to actually hit the task. So both for me, I think it's a good mix. Of course, do whatever works good for you. A planner. So many planners now. I'm pretty sure your favorite marketing Instagram guru has a list of planners for you to go ahead and purchase. So go ahead, support either them or your local TJ Maxx. Either way, you're going to find you a nice little planner. And then, or you want to do old school, write it out and make it plain. It's very tried and true. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then one last thing for kind of like, it's better for group planning if you're like either within a company or you have like a business with more than one team member on your team or whatever like that, or on your payroll. Asana is absolutely amazing as well. And another one, a little gem for y'all, is called Calendly. That's if you want to set any kind of like, appointments with anybody. Everything connects through Zoom. You can just have them go into your calendar. You choose what days and times you're available. So it's completely up to your own discretion. And they can just book whatever is available based upon what the margins are that you set. So a few things for you guys to go ahead and, do your Google researches on, see how the apps work. Look at the reviews, try it out for a while and see what works best for your flow. Like Deion said, there's no one size fits all when it comes to being productive. We all work a little bit different. Even being similar, we all work very much different. So, and it kind of going into that, there is a few more kind of like a mindset piece of the productivity, but I'm gonna let Deion give us some more, clues for that one.
Boundaries. Stop. Boundaries. Set them for real. I think that's one of the things that, as whether it's you're a business owner or just an individual who's literally just trying to be better at managing their time, that is probably one of the hardest things that we overcome, because we've been like programmed in a way to do things just the way we've been doing them since we've been yay high, right? And I think one of the things is that you need to stick to your schedule. You have to. So what's that saying? You could what is it? Walk the walk, but talk the talk. There's a couple of different ways. I was trying to think of the other one, but it's one of those things where you have to act upon it. Stop saying it, do it. You have to do it. Stick to that schedule.
I got one for y'all. You have, and I've been hearing this a lot, like clearly lately, you have to be an active participant in your own success. Ooh. There is no waiting for the stars to align. Like a part of it does go into, divine intervention. Me here will literally just talk about divine intervention. That's a whole different conversation. But at the same time, it's like nobody or nothing should want better for you more than you want better for yourself. So that's just the rule of thumb when it comes to setting boundaries. Is like, this is what you want to do. If you really want to make this happen for yourself, of course, you're having a good support is very needed. It helps. It pushes you further, but it has to start within you first. But I'm gonna let Deion continue.
You're good. And that's one of the things. Well, if you really want it that bad, there's going to be times where you have to say a 2-letter word. No. So if people are trying to have you go out and do
say it again for me. Say it again slowly.
No. Y'all go ahead and rewind it. Y'all can slow it down. I said no. You should be saying no too. And the reason why is because there's been times, and I'll speak out of experience. I think that's one of the things we are really good with, being able to tell you how things move and some of the advice that we have, because we've went through this, right? And it's a thing where we practice what we preach. We don't just preach certain things. It's like, it's one of those things where somebody can come to you and be like, hey, Joy, let's go slide to the mall, whatever the case is, right? That's cool and all, but is that aligning with your goals? You go into the mall, what does that have to do with the goals that you've just set? We're not saying to say no to everything, but be very aware of how these things that you're supposed to be doing, is that aligning with your goal? If somebody's like, hey, we're going to a business meeting, et cetera, or we're going to a business expo for small businesses, that makes sense. We're going to go to that. But if it's something like, oh, we're going to go to the movies, I'm like, I still got some studying to do for my certification. That don't add up right now. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where, again, really ask yourself, does this correlate with what I need to do within the next X amount of time that you've set that long-term or short-term goal, like Joy said. So it all comes back down to making sure that you're on point with that and staying aligned. The other thing is avoid taking on unnecessary tasks, right? So like Joy had mentioned, she said that for her in a day, more than 5 is a little bit much. I'm going to take your advice because that's not how I move. And like we said, we could be very similar, but the way that we work and our workflow is completely different, right? But even thinking about that, and we're talking about it now, I'm like, it would make a night and day difference for somebody who's used to always doing something to saying, okay, these are the only tasks that I'm going to be focusing on, because everything else is added on stress that I don't need, or not even confusion, but it's just additional pressure and anxiety when it's not needed. Because what happens is what we're going to talk about next. Not only does it help reduce with stress and exhaustion, but also we already know multitasking is not good. It really isn't. You're multitasking, but you're not efficient in anything that you're doing. So the word, like, or I guess it's the phrase, is jack of all trades but master of none. So you know how to do everything, but are you getting everything done? You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we got some of this, we did some of this, but it's all incomplete. So you have a half-ass, whatever you got going on, a half-ass project. You worked on different aspects of your project, but instead of prioritizing which parts of the project as of right now, based on your schedule, what you've created, what works for you based on your long-term and short. Y'all see how all this is adding all back up, right?
It all comes around together.
It all comes back together, full circle. So you really have to be mindful that you take one task at a time based on your priorities. And as you do that, you'll become more efficient. Because one, there's not as much on your plate. You don't have to worry about that stress. And I was dealing with that a lot last year. It was the fact of knowing that there's so many things to do, and just knowing how we're very creative people. We try to get all these things out while we can before we lose it. You know what I mean? So as it comes down, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go shoot and just start something just so I can have it. But then that deters you and it puts you away from putting that energy in what you actually need to get done. Because in the back of your mind, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that done, but it never gets done, right? So, and I'm speaking literally out of experience. Like, this is something that I had to learn, and I'm still learning to this day. So, again, like we said last week, nobody's perfect. This is still, a work in progress. So just remember, you will not get this all down in one day. It's not gonna happen. It's
a very like trial and error. It's really like figuring out yourself as you go along.
Exactly.
It's try something out and it's like, this doesn't really work out for me like that. I don't really like how this flows. Change it up, switch it up. Like,
that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Don't feel like because it didn't work, it's a failure. It's just not the way that works for you. That's it. You have to find what works for you. If that means that maybe starting with 3 tasks a day and then working your way up, then that's what you have.
Absolutely.
To do. Just take baby steps. Like we were told, you don't eat the whole elephant, you take bites of the elephant. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just really taking those smaller steps, which are your short-term goals. And then from there, as you continue to move forward, you can create those long-term goals that are there as well and obtain them over time. That's why we have those set. So like those milestones. But the other thing as well too is this one hit home. Is leaving space open in your calendar. And literally,
I'm so glad that he's the one giving the advice on this. I'm so happy it's him.
Listen, family, she not lying. I'm a person, I'll own up to whatever it is, right? And literally today was one of those days where I tend to already have a mental schedule of what needs to go on, right? But I ended up having to take a detour. And I had to have a really deep conversation with someone today. And I really had to give them that pep talk like, hey, listen, this is what needs to be done for you. This is for you. It's not me telling you what to do. This is just me being a really close person to you and giving you an outside perspective of what needs to really, like, based off of everything we're talking about. All right, cool. You understand that? 2.5 hours later, so literally it threw off my whole day. But it's not a bad thing because at the end of it all, having that wiggle room still gives you the opportunity to get things done, right? But not feel so pressured to make it feel like, oh my God, it's one thing. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I still had to come home, still had to train, still had to, we're still doing things, but at the same time, I'm not as stressed out or anxiety based as I used to be because I'm so focused on running through my schedule. So leaving that gap in between when it's needed, I'm telling you, it's going to
That's
make a
like
night and day
leaving
difference.
breathing room. Like leaving
Yeah.
that time, your schedule is like coming to like the Thanksgiving dinner with like leggings on. It's like letting yourself have the space to breathe at some point. That's literally what that is the equivalent of. So if you need that little slack, give yourself 15 minutes, like 15 minutes, in between time, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever works best. That way you still get your 3 to 5 things done. Like
Right.
Deion said, without feeling overwhelmed. That's definitely a mode to at least try out. We'll say it like that. Yeah.
And I mean, so since you put it that way, um, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back off to you because we already know, like you said, being able to set time away and apart for you is the most important part. People don't realize that depending on the individual, a lot of people that I come around, at least, especially a lot of our clients, recently, have been a lot of moms or just, people in general are the people that have to do things for others at almost all the time.
Yes.
So I want you to go ahead and go into that and explain why that's so important to make that time for you.
It's just, I'll give y'all a phrase with it first before I go into the actual tip. You can't pour from a empty cup. You can't continue to be somebody who can give, 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 give. And when it's time for you to fill yourself back up, you're over here looking like the cup is empty. The cup has run over. It has poured out. It has run dry. That's what we're trying to, and that's what leads to that burnout feeling and feeling like what's the point? They're feeling like I'm not important enough, feeling like, that's just a lot of different emotions and everything coming together to make you feel like you don't deserve that time for yourself, which is why a part of your time, a part of your schedule should be set aside for personal time. We call this self-care. That's really all this is self-care. This is a time for you to either set aside time for, hey, every week I want to go take this class. Because why? Because it's fun and I like to do it. Make that your thing. Or if you want to go out with your friends every other weekend because, everybody gets busy in between, you kind of want time to just, come together and just have a nice little camaraderie before you go back into the busy schedules. Do that. It's literally whatever time for meditation, for trying a new recipe. It does not matter what it is. This is your time to give back to yourself, to pour back into your own cup. That's exactly what this time is for. And you should be stingy about your time. Like Deion said, with those boundaries, this is a hard, like, you're not going to cross my line. When that alarm goes off and it says, oop, 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 stop. This is you crossing its personal time. Stop what you're doing. Put your pens down. Put your close the laptop. Close whatever. Then that has to be like, even for yourself, take yourself seriously. Cut everything off. If somebody tries to send you a quick email right when that time hit, don't even open it. Leave it with all the other unreads, and they will come back to it during your regular business hours.
You're a minute late.
Okay, you're a minute late and $1 too short because I really can't do it for y'all until we reopen again tomorrow. That is more than fine. That's what setting those healthy boundaries look like. And then, of course, this is, I don't want to feel like it's going to be a big ask for you to figure out all this stuff on your own. That it's like trying to figure out, okay, how do I set time aside? How do I hold myself accountable when I've been having a hard time doing it up until this point? This is where, accountability for those around you also comes in, into play. I feel like Deion and I mentioned probably a few times over, I don't know how many episodes about this kind of, topic when it comes to the circle that you have around you. Of course, we all know that quality outbeats quantity, but you also, like I said, like how we said, I forgot what episode that was, about doing audits about who's really around you. Do you recall what episode that was?
I'm trying. I
If
don't.
you think about it, we'll put it down below in the comments for y'all because it's like, a blur at this point. Forgive us, charge it to our minds and not to our hearts. But yes, like really saying, like doing audits for who is around you. Like how Deion mentioned in the last episode, you said that you didn't want to go out and drink because you wanted to lose weight. And, that kind of makes a hindrance and you seeing results. And your friend ain't popping your hand when you try to order a drink from the bar. It's like, well, what are we doing? Because if I can't hold me accountable and you see me over here not being accountable, I need you to check me with love, respectfully. Check me. Be like, you said you wasn't gonna do this no more.
Right, exactly.
You said you wasn't gonna do it. Now, whether or not you listen to my advice is completely up to to that person. But they can never say that you never was there to hold them accountable. They still chose their own path. But you can sleep well resting that, hey, I held you accountable. I did. I did my part. I played my role. I was your friend. Making sure that we, stay on the same page. It just helps you to, feel responsible to somebody else. Like in a way, it kind of is a reassuring thing to know that somebody's going to ask you, like, hey, so how is this thing going? She said you were starting on last week. Did you already have the LLC set up, set up for your business? Have you started to, get rid of those snacks in the pantry that you say you're going to, just throw out? Or are you still trying to eat on them? Like, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? Are we going to the gym this Saturday? What time do you want me to be here with you? Like, that's literally how the conversations, should kind of flow when it comes to you and your other accountability partners. And even if you just have one solid accountability partner, that's really all you need.
Seriously.
One real solid person to just hold you accountable. It doesn't have to be a whole group of people. One person that you trust and that you seen them hold themselves accountable. Because first of all, if they can't do it for themselves, they can't do it for you. So we have to watch who you also hold accountable for yourself, because if they can't hold themselves accountable, don't look at them to turn around and do it for you. So keep all of that into perspective. But all in all, those are the main things when it comes to being able to move into a space of being more productive. I know we have such high expectations for this year. If you do not expect big things to come out of this year, I need you to redo your thinking. I need you to go back to the drawing board, clear all the mess out, meditate, pray over whatever you got to do to come into alignment with what's happening for you this year. It's a lot of big things popping out there. I feel it. I got a little shiver on my arm just mentioning that. You feel that, Deion?
All the time. Literally.
Literally. So, give y'all a quick little recap of today's episode in case you missed that in your notes at any point in time. Like Deion said, first and foremost, do an audit of your time. See, where is your time being spent? What is it going to? Your phone will tell you. Ain't that right, Deion? Your phone will let you know, like, okay, that screen time. You say you ain't got time to work out, but you done spend 4 hours a day this week scrolling
On
through
what?
Instagram.
Thank you.
All you needed was 30 minutes, love, to go work out. That's all you need was 30 minutes. You spent 4 hours looking at everybody else stay on their goals and letting yours just fall.
Ain't that sad? Ain't that sad?
Ain't that crazy?
And listen, I'm not judging. I'm just saying the perspective. I'm looking at the perspective as like, that's crazy to me.
I'm watching y'all do better than just being a spectator for this sport. No, I want to be in the game.
Maybe tomorrow. Come on,
maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I love that commercial. Swear to God, that ICDC ABCD Romeo.
Oh, yeah.
I love that commercial with a passion. You see, I'm like, you gonna do it tomorrow? Maybe next week. No, do it right now. That man was like,
wait, you sure it wasn't Everest? I thought it was, what was that damn? Anyway,
I promise you that was ICDC.
You sure that was ICDC?
Yes. Because they had like that weird like school background, like backdrop, like they weren't actually out, like, because there was no campus, right? It was all online, wasn't it?
Wait, are you talking about the one
with Romeo Miller?
Oh no, that was ICDC.
Person, yeah. But I think that guy did an ad for them too. But was Romeo in that ad with him? He might have been at some point. He wasn't. So. Or was it for Everest? It might be.
I'm telling you, it was. You're sitting on the couch, you're sitting on the couch and you're doing something. Those
Are
are, I
you
think, those are two
Googling the
different skills.
script for the commercial?
Of course I was. We'll talk about that later. We don't want to stretch it too long, but that's going to be off the clock. Of course I was, because I'm telling you, this is no Mandela effect. I remember it was two different colleges, because the ICDC was super
Yeah,
corny
that
with Romeo,
ICDC college.
and the other homie was outside. He was in a white tee. He used to have like a little a cap on. You sit in the house, you're not doing nothing anyway, so you might as well. I'm like, I'm going somewhere. He ain't talking to me. I threw my shoulder back. I was like, he ain't talking to me.
Oh, crying.
Sorry, y'all. We got on a whole. This is what y'all
Dropping
get when y'all deal with Capricorns,
Can
man.
we just reel it back? It's okay. Let's just reel it back one more time for us. Okay.
I'm paying attention, but I'm still looking. Hold on.
Who was I saying? So yes, do it right now. It's a point making. But moving on to the next topic. Find what is your best focus time. So whether or not you're a night owl, a morning person, somewhere in in between the afternoon, really just you got a nice little groove going midday, whatever works for you. Let that be the time where, for one, you place your more what we're looking for, like the tasks that kind of just to take more mental energy to get done, the things that take the most time, take your most focus, have that set during your prime focus hours. Like the little small, more mindless things you can kind of fit around it, because you don't need to have so much focus to do it. So keeping that thing into a perspective. Of course, we have our long and short-term goals already set out. So big picture, we want to lose this much weight. Big picture, we want to start this side business or make it our main business or whatever like that. Because one thing that I believe in wholeheartedly is that how you show up to one thing is how you show up to everything. So even if you just becoming consistent in how you handle your fitness, will then translate into how you show up for your job, show up for your business, show up for your family, and everything will have like a nice little domino effect when it comes to that. And so have big picture, short-term goals. Everything leads up to that big picture goal. Make sure they're smart. They make sense. Have it within a certain time. You know exactly what you want to do. You know how long it's going to take. You know what relevance it has to your overall goals. You can actually achieve it within a sensible amount of time. Those are things that we're kind of looking for, and it helps you to create a schedule as far as when to place certain tasks where, like how you were saying this whole episode, no more than 3 to 5 tasks per day. Mix between big and small, that way you're still getting a lot of things done, but trying to reduce that overwhelm kind of feeling and set those boundaries. If you say no, don't mean no.
No.
Okay. No. No. Nah. Like what? Because no means no in several languages.
Exactly. However you say it.
However you say, put a little accent on it, put a little thing over the O. However you want to do it. When you say that you want to spend this time dedicating towards your personal development, have that time go towards your personal development and mean that. Mean that for real. And then avoid trying to multitask. Honestly, the human brain is not really meant functionally to multitask. We're meant to be like hyper focused on one thing, give that our all, and then be able to move over and just have things roll over like that. That's how we start to kind of move in that kind of way, you'll see how much more you get done, because you're not trying to constantly stop and pause thoughts and switch lanes and do all. It's like somebody driving ahead of you in traffic, and they just keep lane hopping. You just like, can you pick one?
And y'all end up at the same red light. How nice of you. You didn't get nothing done.
Neither here or there. Neither here. I'm gonna just let that one just sit, just float in the air. Let it float in the air. Flow in the air, like how we're saying this time to flow in the air for just leaving space in our calendar. So same thing. We're going to leave room for the unexpected, leave room for life to happen, but still be more pointed about setting time aside for your personal self-care. Don't get it too mixed up between having a more pointed task for setting the boundaries and then not setting time, for your actual work task. That's like you're set, you're good, you're set, but then there's no room in there for yourself. Like I said, this is for you to pour back into yourself, refill that cup, refill that vessel, let everything go back like that, and then be able to find that one solid accountability partner. Like you said, all you need is one solid person to hold you accountable, somebody who you admire their own work ethic, and let that be, a real inspiration to you to kind of want to match that energy. And then some point, maybe even pass them up. Be like, hey, I see you. I was right here with you, but you kind of got me hyped up and inspired to just be on the same level. And friend, I got to pass you a little bit because you just got me that fired up. But
absolutely.
Yes. So that is it for today's episode. So yeah, you guys, like we say each and every week, thank you guys for coming back to us and checking out this little old podcast over here on YouTube each and every week. Of course, we want you to go below and leave us a comment down below about first of all, let me know what goals we have going on for this year. Let's just put that out into the world, write it out, make it plain, because our words are powerful. Okay, if you are questioning it, say something enough times with true belief in it. I promise you, it will happen wholeheartedly. But before we kind of do a little end of the episode wrap up, anything you want to say, Deion, any church announcements or you should let the folks know about?
Nah, not yet. You know what I'm talking about. Not yet. But all we're gonna say is, or on my behalf at least, is that 2022 is literally the year of, partnerships and relationships and really getting that opportunity to meet and link up with a lot of new people. So take advantage of it. Don't feel like when somebody comes around and they're trying to help, pay attention, get a feel of it. But there's going to be people out there that genuinely see that light in you and they want to help and they want to be a part of what's going on and they want to help that ideal and that whole, that, not necessarily a dream because it's going to happen, but what you have, that goal or goals, multiple goals ahead of you that you have set in stone for this year to help you get there. There's going to be people that want to see you do good. All right. Absolutely. So do not take that for granted. Do not overlook. You get what I'm saying? So just really pay attention to a lot of things that are going on this year. And just know that anything you put your mind to, like Joy said, it can be done. And what they say is, say it and so it shall be. So be very aware of what you say, how you say it. You know why. So other than that, y'all, that's it for this week. But for that little thing that I said earlier, trust me, we just give us a little bit more time. Within the next couple of episodes, we will be announcing that there's going to be a lot of great upgrades going on within the business right now.
Yes,
we're super happy. Slight tear, but that's all. No more church now.
Yeah, we've been out here really hustling, not to try to oversell anything, but a nice little humble brag. We've been out here hustling, we've been out here working for y'all because we want what we offer to you to be something that helps you really evolve, like the name is.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. We want you to really evolve into your better person, into your better self. So we're trying to come to y'all with as many tools, as many resources, as many whatever y'all need to be successful in these journeys. We're trying to make sure that we have that available for you guys. So, don't want to put too much on it, but I'm really looking forward to just being able to share that with y'all and then see how you guys just blossom from it. So please stay down, stay tuned. Okay, stay down and stay tuned to what's happening over with the Evolve Fitness family, y'all, because we are moving. We moving this thing right along for 2022.
Quick.
Okay. And then, like I said, leave us the comments down below about your goals for 2022. I want to see some really ambitious goals down below in the comment section. And I want to know the times. You want to do what and how long it's taking, for you to actually get let me get the details, the real meat and potatoes of what's going on for this year and everything. So as always, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Oh, and of course, how can I forget? Please share this out with three of your people. Okay. Just treat people. Go tell your boss, your coworker, and your best friend who live next door, your cool neighbor or whoever. It does not matter. This is for everybody to come in and gain all this good knowledge. And we will catch you guys in the next installment. All right, family.